Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. How often you feel uninspired, unmotivated to do anything in your life? So often we find people on the internet, we find people around us which may look like they are always inspired, they are always motivated to do new things, to create new things and so on. And sometimes it makes us feel like we are not good enough, like we are not like they are, we are not talented, we don't have as much energy as they have. And often I receive messages like, how are you staying so motivated and so inspired to make videos every single day and to make your art and so on? But the thing is that so often I feel unmotivated as well, and I feel uninspired as well. And sometimes, I start to think, what could I paint right now? And sometimes I experience myself being without any idea, being without inspiration. And sometimes I feel uninspired to make another video, right? Like I feel like, oh, today I just don't have anything to share. And the problem with that is that we start pulling ourselves down, like there's something wrong with us, like we are losing the flow, like, we are unworthy, we start to feel unworthy and we pull ourselves down even more. And it's not a beautiful state to be in, right? It's actually, it's not about inspiration, it's not about motivation. It's actually knowing and understanding why we do something and what is really important to us. Because to me, the most important thing is to know how to overcome that state, know how to overcome the state of being uninspired, the state of being unmotivated. Because truly, sometimes if we look great leaders in life, they're not doing the things only when they are inspired or motivated. They do things because their vision for the future is bigger than life, is bigger than them. And sometimes I do art because I want to learn certain new technique, and I start painting something completely new because I want to learn the skill. So it's not always about being inspired. It's also, that understanding, well, I want to learn something new right now. If you have certain projects and you don't feel motivated to move forward, understand why you've started it at the first place. Do you want to evolve yourself? Do you want to expand a certain aspect of your life? And what you actually want to do with that? Because, sometimes we start pulling ourselves down and we say, I'm not motivated, I'm not inspired. Well, accept that situation, that sensation, in the moment when we accept that we are uninspired, there may be a rise of inspiration from the sensation of acceptance that we are not inspired. When we accept something, we unblock the channel, we unblock the stored energy. When we accept something, we may experience a rise of gratitude and appreciation for where we are right now and for what we are experiencing. And this is truly an important sensation, because as long as we're pulling ourselves down, we will never move anything and anywhere. We will never get to where we want to be. But when we have that great vision for the future and we understand that we will not always be motivated, we will not always be inspired, but we are ready to move forward because we are ready to learn. How can we overcome ourselves if we're not ready to move forward, even when things doesn't feel like we want to move forward? And how well we understand when we need to step away from our plans and goals, and to recognize, are we still following our hearts? Are we still doing what is important to us? And those are truly, truly important questions. Sometimes we must keep up with the process, and sometimes we need to recognize, well, I feel drained out, I feel exhausted, I have enough of this, and that's the time where we pause our lives and we do something completely differently. So those are all the lessons that we're gaining when we're moving through the moments of being uninspired and being unmotivated, and it's all okay with that. There's nothing wrong with those experiences. Those are actually experiences which are building us, which are creating us, and we should not ignore that, and we should also not suppress that. It's all okay with experiencing all of that. Those are, you know, when our emotions, the signals, emotional signals starts sending messages to our awareness, hey, do something about it. There's some stored energy, do something with it, and understand what it is, what's coming to you, what's, you know, what you're experiencing. Is there a certain wound that's coming up onto the surface of your awareness and you should deal with it? Like maybe what you were doing in the past is not serving you anymore. Maybe your projects that were important to you in the past are not important to you anymore in the present moment. And when we experience that sensation of being unmotivated and uninspired, it's a beautiful time of reflection. You know, reflect your past a little bit and see how far you've come, see if you need to make certain necessary changes, because, you know, everything is happening in cycles, but cycles are not happening just like Maynard said, everything is moving in a spiral upward motion. But those are all cycles, you know, with ups and downs and ups and downs, but on an upward spiral. So as we're moving forward in life and we are meeting those experiences of being uninspired and feeling stuck and experiencing sadness and unworthiness because we start comparing ourselves with others, those are the greatest moments in our lives where we fully recognize what we are doing and why we are doing that. Because, you know, to me, when it comes to these videos, it's not just making content. It was never just about making content. It's about my personal growth, my spiritual growth, my understanding of myself. How much can I expand as I'm sharing myself and as I'm expressing myself, how much I'm learning about myself. And at the moments when I feel uninspired, for example, I ask myself, what can I learn from this moment right now? What can I learn from being uninspired? Is there something I could share from the sensations that maybe many people are dealing with that right now, and maybe just this can help somebody? And, you know, learning from what we are moving through helps us to grow the most. And that is the greatest growth that can happen to us. And not just to us, we share something we've learned with somebody who may be dealing with that same thing but haven't developed that understanding yet, and your understanding can help somebody else to move through that. So remember that there's nothing wrong when you're dealing with the sensations. Acceptance is the first thing that will help you to get to where you want to be. Accept that you feel whatever you feel. Just accept it, and suddenly you will experience that rise of gratitude. I just feel grateful for feeling that. I just feel grateful for having those realizations. I just feel grateful that I feel like I need to stop doing that and I need to do something else. I just feel grateful that I can pause myself and do something else. And, you know, sometimes we can do that, right? Maybe you need to go to job and you feel like like unmotivated to go there, and you still need to go there because your boss will say, hey, what are you doing? And, you know, you go there and you recognize the importance of that job. Is this still something which is fulfilling me, or it's actually a great time for me to start searching something more? Is there actually a great time right now for me to seek a greater fulfillment in my life? What if I could start a new passion project? What if I could actually see if there's a greater way in my life to be fulfilled. What if I could actually change the path that I'm walking on and experience a greater fulfillment? You know, those moments are so important, and often we just ignore them. Often we just pull ourselves down. We say, oh, I feel so unmotivated, I feel bad, but we still do the things and we force ourselves into doing something. But how often we actually reflect those experiences and we ask ourselves, is there something more life is teaching me right now? Is there something more my spirit is trying to remind me of right now? Because you can always pause yourself and ask your higher self, if you wish, or your heart to show you the way, show me the way, what's, you know, help me to see things more clearly, what I need to recognize right now. Because, you know, we are all on the path of a greater understanding of why we're doing something and how to step or tap into a greater alignment with ourselves so everything can happen with greater flow. And when we tap into that greater flow, we may recognize that flow is everywhere. Everything is moving with flow. But if we're rushing too much, if we're forcing too much, we unplug ourselves from that flow because we try to move faster than the flow of life. And when we try to move faster than the flow of life, life will stop us and put us back into flow, because nothing can move faster or slower than the flow of life. The flow is always constant and it is always flowing. That's why sometimes if we're rushing too much, something will happen that will slow down. And if we're too slow, something will happen that it will speed up the process. Sometimes, you know, we experience, sometimes when people are moving too fast in lives, they experience certain sickness, so it can slow them down. And if we're moving too slow, there's, you know, a deadline or a certain limitation which will push us to do things faster. So once we start recognizing those meanings and signs in our lives, we may slowly get into that greater flow where we may recognize that it's actually everything happening for us. And all those experiences and sensations that we're moving through, it's all about greater understanding of our emotional body and mental body, to gain a greater coherence. Like, what are still the weights we're carrying within the backpack of our past, and what could we do with that? And how much we're still forcing ourselves to achieve certain results just so we could prove ourselves to others that we are worthy, and what are the reasons that we are doing what we're doing? Because those are all, you know, often reasons why we're doing whatever we are doing. Because once we recognize that we're already enough and that we are already worthy, we may find out that there are completely different goals we want to follow. There are completely different things we want to achieve in our lives. And our desires may change. And once our desires may come more from our hearts than our minds, we will experience less often the moments of being uninspired, because heart is filled with inspiration. We are creative by nature, and more we are connected with that inner nature, more easily it is to express it. So that inner nature is all about constant expression of something new, constant expression of that creative force which is giving us life, and we're learning to in tune with it once again. So in order to in tune with that internal creative flow, creative motion, creative energy, we need to detach from certain mind limitations, certain boxes, how things should be, how we should be, who we are, who we think we are, who we believe that we are. And we start to do things more from our hearts. That's where people start to write poetry, people start to paint beautiful paintings, right? People start to write books, people start to make music, people start to do things like gardening from their hearts, people start to help each other, people start to build communities, people start to lead a new way, and people become actually great leaders out of that state of inner creativity, because they see the potential on the world, that the change is possible and the change is necessary, and they see the best possible outcome of the change they want to create. So it's important to learn to in tune with our inner self, to understand why we feel something, why we are dealing with certain sensations. So don't pull yourself down when you feel uninspired. Don't pull yourself down when you feel unmotivated. But actually in tune with yourself and ask yourself, what do you actually need right now? What's the thing you need right at this moment? What you truly need to do right now? Take some time to breathe. Take some time to be with yourself. Take some time to be with people you love. Take some time to visit places you love. Take some time to spend a date with yourself alone, maybe somewhere outside in the nature, and may the things be revealed to you. May your mind experience a greater clarity, and may all realizations come to you at the time of inner peace and inner quietness, because everything will find you. But if you're constantly distracting yourself and searching for motivation outside of you, you may never find it, because truly, you know, we may feel inspired by a certain music or a certain video, and it may give us that dopamine rush in the brain, and suddenly we feel much better and we feel more alert to do something, and we feel called to express something. But when that sensation will fall down, we'll seek more of it, right? We'll seek more of that external inspiration and motivation, and we'll start searching more videos and more music and more of this and more of that. But at some point we'll come to a state where nothing else inspires us, nothing else motivates us. And that's the moment where we actually find out that it's not the answer outside of us. Nothing out there will forever fulfill you. It may give you a sense of inspiration on a short term to actually remind you, hey, all of that is already within you. But once you actually take time for yourself, you go outside, for example, you disconnect from everything that's happening, and you're in tune with yourself, you may recognize there's so much to be expressed, there's so much music within me, there's so much beautiful and expressed art within me, so much to write, so much to say, so much to give, so much to do. But we can only find it out once we detach from all those external expectations of what we should do and what we could do, and so on. And we tune back with with what's happening within ourselves. Because sometimes the greatest inspiration can be your greatest fear. Sometimes the greatest inspiration can be your greatest pain. Sometimes your greatest inspiration can be your greatest hurt. When you were hurt the most. You reflect those moments a little bit. You see what can you learn from those experiences. You find the lessons, you apply lessons in your life. What you've learned, you try, you put it in practice. Can I be different? Can I apply those new actions? Can I apply this new understanding in my life and see what will change? If I apply those new actions, what will change? If I develop new habits, who I will become? And we see what's happening. And when we place more of those realizations into action, we finally recognize that new actions create new results, and there's a great lesson once again to share it with somebody maybe, or to write something down with that maybe, or whatever it is. So play with that, never pull yourself down. All internal sensations are beautiful. Maybe they're hard, but they're beautiful. All your emotions are beautiful, so appreciate them. And just play with that. Stop being so hard on yourself. Take it easy and just be fully aware with what is happening. And recognize that it's okay not being okay, and it's okay not being inspired and motivated. You're not a robot to always rush, always do, always, force. See the nature. Trees are not forcing anything, but they are still growing. They are not rushing, but they are still growing. Sometimes they are just gently moving in the wind, but they are still growing. So see that everything is actually happening in quietness. And all the answers are in quietness. So tap more often into that state of quietness, and you will see that actually everything is already there. So my friends, this is it for today. Sending you all love, blessings and power. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Until next time, one love.